Different Strokes, weekdays at 4.
It's not just gay people or people that look like they have AIDS. It can be anybody that they don't even suspect. They don't have to use IV drugs themselves. They can just sleep with somebody that has it.
This is the new face of the AIDS epidemic. More people than ever are being infected with AIDS through IV drug use and sex with drug users. That means the disease is affecting more people and creating an entire new set of challenges. Good evening.
When addressing the AIDS epidemic in Oregon, the numbers speak for themselves. Since 1981, more...
You are watching Oregon's News Source Network, and this is News Source 11 at 11.
Good evening, Oregon. I'm Mark Telshek. Catherine Herr has the night off. Rescuers have scaled back the search for a toddler missing and presumed drowned in the McKenzie River. Starkey, actually. Those stories still to come on News Source.
This is Oregon's News Source Network. KMTR, NBC 16 Eugene, KMTX, NBC 46 Roseburg, and KMTZ, NBC 23 Coos Bay. Your source for coverage you can count on. Now, Joe Giunsante with News Source Sports.
Well, the Oregon Ducks are 17-point favorites this Saturday against Texas Intercepted Paso, but you won't hear Mike Bellotti talking about that to his players. Instead, Bellotti letting his guys know today at practice that they'll be in a dogfight if they don't get physical and aggressive against the Miners and play up to their potential.
You're watching KMTR News Source 16, and this is News Source at 5:30.
The family is very young, they love contemporary, and they love kind of clean lines, and they want a soothing, calm environment. Done. It's going to be a phenomenal house.
A national TV show comes to Oregon to change the life of a Corvallis family. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Renee McCullough.
And I'm Matt Templeman. Construction crews dug in and demolished a home on Granger Road today. It is part of the filming for ABC's Extreme Makeover Home Edition.
Springfield turns himself in tonight. What charges the suspect is facing, and a new museum exhibit in Lane County is stirring up controversy. News Source 16 at 11 starts now.
You're watching KMTR News Source 16, and this is News Source 11 at 11.
If you're old enough, you might remember a time when you needed a doctor's prescription for cold medicines. Well, that time may come around again for Oregon. Good evening, I'm Jared Meyer. The Oregon Senate passed the bill, which now goes to the House. It's a tough crackdown on methamphetamine manufacturers in Oregon.
Now at 6:30, did you see a rainbow running through Eugene this morning? Coming up, the 5K that involved thousands of runners getting colorful for charity. And walking in another person's shoes. A local volunteer extends his hand to a young boy suffering from a rare cancer. The special bond that the two share coming up next. Plus, gearing up for Earth Day, a group of University of Oregon students showed their love for Mother Earth earlier today. How many students turned out for the event?
Live in Western Oregon, you're watching KMTR News Source 16, and this is News Source at 6:30.
They throw colors at you.
16 starts now.
Live in Western Oregon, you're watching KMTR News Source 16, and this is News Source at 6:30.
Don't just pack it, wear your jacket, because if an accident happens, you're not going to have time to find it and put it on.
A week before Memorial Day weekend, a ceremony to honor a young life lost. Thanks for watching News Source 16 at 6:30. I'm Megan Higgins. A new life jacket loaner station opens at a popular Eugene area lake named for a child who drowned almost 2 years ago.
Next on News Source 16 at 11, a fugitive of New York on the run for almost 4 years is captured in Eugene, where officers found him in broad daylight.
Plus, a woman is raped near Alton Stadium. What police are saying about the 17-year-old suspect and how they were able to find him after he fled the scene.
Plus, have you visited the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport this month? Why health officials say you may have been exposed to the measles virus.
Live in Western Oregon, you're watching KMTR News Source 16, and this is News Source at 11.
A fugitive out of New York is taken into custody in Eugene after being on the run for almost 4 years. Thanks for joining us on News Source 16 at 11. I'm Kelsey Dudley.
And I'm Carly Gomez. In our top story tonight, police say they were able to hone in on 30.
News Source 16, and this is News Source at 11.
Obviously, in moments like these, words aren't going to bring their loved ones back. But the one thing that they share is how much they appreciate the entire UCC community coming together.
President Barack Obama reacts to his meeting with the shooting survivors, victims, families, and college staff today in Roseburg, just 8 days after a gunman opened fire inside a classroom, killing 9 people and injuring 9 more. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for News Source 16 at 11. I'm John Franke. Stephanie Domerat has the night off.
Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 Today with Kendall Bartley and Greg Tanner.
Good morning. Thanks for waking up with us on your Tuesday. I'm Kendall Bartley.
And I'm Greg Tanner. Had to think about that for a second. I always catch that.
No, I didn't. I knew it was Tuesday because I am not a fan of Tuesdays. They're so much harder than Mondays.
You've said this before.
You agree with me, right? Now
I think
that Tuesday's here?
Tuesdays don't really have a feel to them. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 5.
An infamous strip of road in Corvallis now getting safety improvements. Thanks for joining us for NBC 16 at 5. I'm Alan Matthews.
And I'm Jacqueline Mazer. 3rd Street, also known as Highway 99 in Corvallis, is an area that has seen 3 fatal accidents in recent years.
Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 5:30.
A new study finds Oregon and Eugene leading the pack on the highest numbers of homeless people in America when adjusted for population. Thanks for joining us for NBC 16 at 5:30. I'm Alan Matthews. Jody Reynosa has the evening off.
16 severe weather causing major delays and closures. How Wayne County Public Works plans on battling the freezing rain's course.
Plus, more from Burns, where armed protesters have taken over a government-owned facility. We'll have the latest developments from that standoff.
And major news from Oregon. Head coach Mark Helfrich announcing today that Don Pelham has been demoted from defensive coordinator. We'll have those details just ahead.
Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 6:30.
Severe weather caused icy roads and traffic delays throughout Lane County today. Many bus lines were rerouted and a number of schools were closed. We have the latest for you tonight. Good evening. And thanks for joining us for NBC 16 at 6:30. I'm John Franke.
And I'm Stephanie Domerat. Ice-covered roads making for a dangerous commute and causing several closures in our area.
Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 11.
The Springfield City Council is moving forward to address the issue of panhandling in the city. Good evening and thanks for joining us on NBC 16 at 11. I'm Stephanie Domerat.
And I'm John Franke. A new ordinance could prohibit the transfer of property from the driver or passenger of a car.
Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 6:30.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Perry Elliott Durrani. A group of protesters interrupted dinner at the Elkhorn Brewery last night in Eugene to protest the owner's involvement with the group Eugene Wake Up.
Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 11.
At a time of fierce political divide today.
Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 Today with Kendall Bartley and Greg Tanner.
Good morning. Thanks so much for waking up with us here on NBC 16 Today. I'm Kendall Bartley.
And I'm Greg Tanner. I told you we'd have a new look today.
It's new. It's different. It's exciting.
Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News.
A growing number of businesses are fed up with people turning down jobs because they prefer unemployment benefits. So much so, they're creating and sharing so-called blacklists of...
Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 5.
The state budget forecast is in, and while the new figures don't show the $3 billion shortfall we were expecting, the numbers are still not looking good. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Jacqueline Mazer. Well, Oregon is in a severe recession, the deepest on record dating back to 1939.
In Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 5:30.
Bay Area Hospital in Coos Bay is temporarily furloughing employees on a voluntary basis. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Jacqueline Mazer. The hospital furloughed 71 employees for 45 days. Kelly Dion with Bay Area Hospital says more employees volunteered than they were able.
Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 6:30.
2 weeks ago, a video posted to a social media site caused an uproar online. A teen babysitter on the South Coast could be seen putting a vaping device in an infant's mouth.
COVID-19 treatment. How many patients have already tried that out?
And dry and sunny conditions will be giving way to some increasing cloud coverage. NBC 16 News at 6:30 starts right now.
Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News.
All right, thanks for joining us for the post-hockey edition of the news tonight. I'm Tom Adams. Cameron Walker is off for the first half of this evening.
Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 11.
At least one person in custody tonight following a pro-police parade met with counter-protesters in downtown Springfield. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Jacqueline Mazer. NBC 16's Alex Hassenstab joins us live in the studio tonight. Now, Alex, the scene became more and more tense between opposing groups.
Jacqueline, it certainly was intense.
KMTR is rebroadcast on these translators.